So this video is on using infrared mats or pads to do hyperthermia therapy. And hyperthermia therapy means, let me back up a second, this is Alex, by the way, from healthhacksreviewed.com, healthhacksreviewed.com. So hyperthermia therapy means when your body goes into a fever state, essentially. Hypothermia is when you're going below 98.7 degrees, right? And you reach such a cool temperature, you start shaking and all sorts of problems happen. The opposite, however, overheating, in which you produce a fever, is the body's natural response to basically destroy some sort of pathogen in the body, right? Bacteria, virus, infection, whatever it is. It's part of the immune response. So, hyperthermia therapy, people can actually use or induce this state to destroy things in their body if they have some sort of condition or disease and they know is linked to a pathogen. Okay? And so if you Google hyperthermia therapy, cancer research, hyperthermia therapy, Mayo Clinic, there are actually some alternative not alternative per se, but some cancer research hospitals, like the Mayo Clinic, for example, and other clinics that do hyperthermia therapy to eradicate 90% of cancers. There are some cancers that don't respond, okay, but they're the minority, big minority. So hyperthermia therapy, though, remember, will also destroy other types of pathogens. So people are doing it for other types of conditions, Lyme's, other types of infections in the body. There's millions of diseases and conditions that are connected to infections and viruses and mycoplasmas and all sorts of bad stuff in the body. Some of the really hard to detect or cure or heal or treat disease and conditions many times are linked to funguses and bacteria and viruses that don't show up on the mainstream blood tests. So this is kind of one kind of shotgun approach, simple approach to let's just raise the body into a fever state, see if we can eradicate whatever it is. Of course there's no side effects except for the side effect of when you destroy a lot of the stuff in the body, the bad stuff. A lot of times all the metabolic waste and toxins coming out of the dead bacteria or virus or pathogens, whatever it is, dump into your system. If you have a weakened immune system, that means your immune system can be overburdened with having to clean all that up. So you're definitely, if you're going to do some protocol like that, talk to me. There's some things you want to take supplementally to support your normal elimination pathways, so your immune system is more supported, essentially, when you're going to take a kind of more aggressive approach. But relatively speaking, this is not that aggressive, right? A fever state per se. And now when I say fever state, I don't necessarily mean that you have to go into the type of fever state where your brain is frying, okay? Obviously, fever could be like run a little bit of a spectrum of degrees, right? To the point where you should go to a hospital because it can get so high, right? But to actually just destroy all sorts of bad stuff in the body, around 3 degrees increase is a really good amount. So 97, I'm counting now on my hands, 98, 99, 100, so even around like 100 degrees, if it's something really intense in the body, maybe you'll peak into 101. That would be pretty intense and pretty effective, and some people do that. A lot of clinics have huge success, so much success with a lot of major disease that I don't even necessarily want to talk about it, just because of how obnoxious and annoying the FDA is. But do a little bit of research on your own. Of course, I'm not a doctor, but if you think about it logically, about how the immune system heals from different types of situations, one surefire way of destroying bad stuff in the body, even tumors, cells that basically have gone crazy and need to be destroyed, apoptosis, is one application of that is simply raising the temperature of the environment so it's inhospitable. And because all cells, whether they're unhealthy, including bacterial cells, foreign, bugs, ideally like an environment that is acidic and that is within a certain temperature range. So increase it drastically in any direction, and you can destroy what you want to destroy. So people are using infrared pads or mats. Biomats are very popular at these types of clinics and hospitals. Probably the main reason is because Biomat donates all of those products to those types of organizations a lot of times, but also because they got full FDA clearance with those, so that's why you'll generally see those. I would point out one thing: when you do hyperthermia research, okay, like at the Mayo Clinic, for example, they're putting people into a fever state. First off, not using infrared. They're just using normal ambient heaters, okay? And that's fine too. It really doesn't matter, per se, how you induce the hyperthermia state. But actually, using infrared also gives you 1,000 other benefits, and I'm not even joking, so that are very supportive to the body. So that's actually a far more beneficial and supportive way to induce hyperthermia state. You can actually use any of the pads or mats. Using a biomat or maybe like a Vitamat is probably a better option, because those will raise your temperature a lot faster. It's more efficient because they put off more infrared, and the Biomat also goes like really hot. It's one of the hottest. So it doesn't take up as much of your time. Basically, those are more efficient ways to raise your core body temperature. And you want to use a thermometer, of course, a digital thermometer to actually modulate that. The other big difference, though, between the hospitals doing this is that in hospitals it's a more controlled environment, because they're actually putting the body into a fever state for several days, like non-stop. You're sleeping in a fever state. In other words, not that enjoyable, but it works. So, I mean, it's your life, and it's side effect free, so it's a little bit of suffering. But they'll do it continuous for just days, and it's very effective. Now, what was suspected was, well, if you just put your body into a fever state just for an hour a day or 2 hours a day or just shorter periods of time, basically, intermittently, is that going to be as effective? There's no studies out there, but there are many clinics you can talk to that do it that way for just an hour or a few hours a day and have fantastic results. It just is slower. It's just slower. So you want to do it consistently, because remember that as you destroy all these things in the body, they will grow back and replicate. So you just have to be consistent about constantly beating it back, destroying it. Just like how you take antibiotics, if you've ever taken them, or how they're supposed to be prescribed, is you take them at the same time intervals. So you're slowly reversing the replication. You're beating the replication rate of the different bad stuff in the body, basically. So you want to do the same sort of thing with infrared. But anyway, subjective feedback, consensus in the field, using the mats, basically, doing it for short, intermittent schedules is just as effective. It just takes longer. But how much longer does it take? According to, again, all the consensus feedback out there, anywhere from like 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. Depends on the condition, depends on the person's condition itself, how strong their immune system is, where they're at, what stage, all sorts of different things. But anywhere, it's really between that. So it's like 2 to 8 weeks, I would say, is your window of majorly reversing some serious things, side effect free. So again, my statements are, don't have any medical claims behind them, and I'm not a doctor. And mostly what I'm talking about is just for entertainment purposes and educational purposes only. You just have to do your own discernment and investigation. But it's also a very affordable protocol to do based on when we look at a lot of the other medical costs out there. And of course, infrared has a myriad of benefits. We have about 3,000 studies, really well over that, maybe like 4,000 over the last 30 years. So doing this protocol, you also get all of those other benefits. I really can't think of more of a win-win type of situation to be in. Anyways, if you have more questions about this, shoot me a message or send me an email. I'm also welcome to do consultation and give me a call. Thanks.